One of the things that we like to do on the train was play pranks on each other, especially if we could make our poor conductor stumble and stutter a little bit. Here's some of my best memories of that. We played all sorts of pranks and gags on each other while we're out at the train. Made us have a lot of fun. Also gave the guests watching the show a pretty good laugh as they would see some of the shenanigans and what would happen with them. We would do all sorts of different things. One of the easiest things to do was just to change the whole beginning of the show to something that was completely unexpected by the conductor. Now, if you've never seen the train robbery before at Silver Dollar City, there's one point in the ride where the train gets stopped by a couple of goofball outlaws named Alfie and Ralphie Bolin. Their whole goal is to rob the train. But of course, you've got a conductor on board who's there to protect you, and he hops off to take care of the outlaws. So the first thing Alfie and Ralphie have to do is they got to get rid of the conductor. The way they do that can be rather entertaining and amusing. For many, many years, there's been a couple of standard scripts that they would use to help get rid of him. The biggest one that most people have seen would be what we call the Yankee Show. And that is simply the two outlaws standing there telling the conductor, "Hey, up around the bend, there is 9 of the biggest, meanest, ugliest Yankees you never done saw. They've all got these huge woodwork clubs and they're swinging and swatting and swiping, but don't you all worry, they can't hit nothing." And the conductor asks, "Well, why not?" "Well, they're New York Yankees." And the whole idea is to get the conductor to go chasing off up the tracks to go look and see if there's any of these actual Yankees there or not. The variation of that they've done off and on over the years is Indians. Basically the same kind of thing. There's 9 of the biggest, meanest, ugliest Indians you've ever seen up there. Well, they're Cleveland Indians. Why 9? For those of you who don't know, because there's 9 players on a baseball team. We would occasionally change that up, though, just to see if we could kind of stump or throw off the conductor a little bit. Come up with some things that we hadn't done. For example, one of my last days working at the park happened to be at a time when the Kansas City Royals, the local favorite team, were playing the San Francisco Giants in the World Series. And so, we came up with this introduction to it.
"What do you think you're doing stopping my train out here in the middle of nowhere?"
You just relax. We stopped your train to rob you.
"What?
I mean, warn you.
Warn me? About what?"
Giants!
"What? Giants?"
Up around that bend, 9 of the biggest, tallest, meanest, ugliest looking giants y'all never done saw. They've all got these huge woodwork clubs. They're swinging and swiping and swatting at everything. But don't you worry, they can't hit much of nothing.
"Why is that?"
They San Francisco Giants.
Here's another one that we used based on a local pro team that didn't do quite so well. "What's the big idea stopping my train out here in the middle of nowhere?" "You just be happy we did. We stopped you to warn you." "About what?" "Rams!" "Rams?" "That's right. There's 11 of the biggest, ugliest rams you ever done saw. They're all running all over the place chasing after this one poor other guy, and they're tripping and falling and everything else, but they can't catch him for nothing." "Well, why not?" "They're the St. Louis Rams." Yeah, that would usually get a pretty good laugh because the Rams are pretty bad at that time. One of my personal favorites, though, I only got to do a couple times. We had one guy on the train that you actually saw as the conductor in that clip a little bit earlier named Rick. Rick has been on that train for years. Rick knows everything that's happened, every blurble, every goofball. Rick knows stuff that nobody has ever seen that he can pull on you. But I did have one time I totally threw Rick off and left him absolutely speechless. He pulled up on the train one time. It was September 18th. Rick pulls up and we're dressed just a little bit differently. I've taken my black cowboy western hat and I've used the wire frame to kind of mesh it into a tricorn hat. And then I snuck in this big sword and tucked that down into my belt and taken my bandana and tied it a little bit different. Rick pulls up, hops off the train, and goes, "What's the big idea stopping my train out here in the middle of nowhere?"
"Arr! You better be happy we did, matey. We stopped your land schooner to warn you."
"About what?"
"Pirates!"
At this point, Rick just went,
"Pirates?
"I don't think there's ever any pirates up here."
Well, there's 9 of the biggest, meanest, scurviest looking pirates you've ever done seen. They've all got giant wood cutlasses, and they're a-swinging, and they're a-swiping, and they're a-swatting. But don't y'all worry none. They ain't hitting anything."
"Well, why is that?"
"They're Pittsburgh Pirates."
And poor Rick is trying to figure out what to do and where to go with this. What was really fun was watching the reaction of the people on the train. Because they're all looking at us, and most of the people at the train, when we started going, what? It's September 18th. International Talk Like a Pirate Day. So we did the whole entire robbery show in pirate. By the end of the show, the people on the train were laughing. Rick is laughing because it's the first time he's been snookered in a long time. And we had a great time. As far as I know, I'm the only one who has ever done the pirate show on the Silver Dollar City train, though. So if you saw the pirate show and you enjoyed it, you're welcome. That was me. It wasn't unusual for the robbers to do other things. I'm a fairly short guy, about 5'7", and we had a couple guys on the train that were definitely much bigger than I am. Josh and Huff, I'm talking about you. When these two were robbing, they would like to do anything they can to reinforce how short I am. In fact, one of my nicknames was Gnomeo. And I would have one time they came out and they had a little Travelocity garden gnome out there, and hey, look, it's you! One of the things that they'd like to do, though, that would scare me, is they would try to trap me in between them. And I'll tell you why I was afraid to get between them. I was afraid that each one was going to hook an arm and just pick me up, and I would just be sitting there kicking in the air. It wouldn't be the first time they'd done something like that. I can think of another time that I got one of our other conductors, Coulter. He was one of our college kids out there, and I didn't realize he was a little afraid of snakes. The train had pulled in, and it's a real steam engine. And there's water and hot water and steam dripping off of it. Well, apparently, this water dripping off the engine had caught a little ring snake. It's only about that long. Looks like a giant earthworm, to be honest, but it's a snake. And after the train had pulled out, I saw this snake laying down there and thought, oh, well, poor thing, let's have some fun. And so I took the snake and I put it down about where the back of the train would be. And as I finished robbing the train, I picked this little dead snake up and set him over the microphone box that the conductor uses. And went on, finished the robbery and everything else. And as we get done with the show, the conductor heads towards the back of the train again. And as he gets on the train, he reaches for the microphone to let the guests know everything's okay. And then he sees the snake. I didn't realize Coulter could fly, but he sure flew off that train, yelling, "Get this!" It was a lot of fun. We still give each other a bad time now. Hey there. I hope that you're enjoying these pranks and funny moments that we had on the train. I've got so many of them that I decided it's better for me to actually split it up into 2 parts. So you're getting part 1 now. Part 2 will be out later on this weekend. I'm hoping Saturday. Otherwise, it should be out Sunday afternoon at the latest for you. So be on the lookout for that. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed this part. Please don't forget to like, share, comment on some of the funny things that you've seen us do on the train. If you got a really funny moment or someplace where you saw the conductor or the train robbers just lose it, let me know. I'd love to hear your stories too. Thanks so much.